Today we're going to be making our bestseller beginner hoop. It is a listing, this one's going to be the pink one, but it is a listing for beginner hoops that are solid state in color, so they're not a contrasting color on the spiral. So it'll make you look like a pro even though you're a beginner. So this is a pretty, almost like dragon design pattern. And this is going to be our hula hoop. This is a 34 inch, which is a smaller hoop for beginners. If you're a total beginner and you're looking for that instant gratification of being able to waist hoop like you used to as a kid, then you're going to want to go on the bigger end of the sizes. The bigger the hoop, the slower the rotation. So it'll rotate slower and give you more time to adjust in between rotations. So a slower rotation is actually a good thing. And a bigger hoop is better for a beginner. A lot of people think opposite, which I get, you know, but the truth is the bigger the better if you're looking for on-body hooping. So we're going to make sure that our spiral is nice and even. And you also want to have some overlap. You want your grip tape to hold down the edges of both ends. So you don't want it too wide. You don't want it too close. This tape specifically does not have any give. So your spiral, if everything is straight and smooth, and you don't have any wrinkles in your tape, the spiral should stay even. And if you see a change in the spiral, that means you have a mistake somewhere before it. So that's something to think about. If your spiral starts to change, there's a reason why. It's either a wrinkle or you don't have it laying completely flat. Taping a hula hoop is an acquired skill. It takes a lot of practice, but the more practice you get, the better you get at it. So if you're trying this for the first time, just know that there is a learning curve. So be kind to yourself, and you will get better as you go. So these hoops are bigger diameters. They're made for adult use as well. They're mainly made for adults. When people are like, oh my God, I used to be able to hula hoop when I was a kid and I can't do it anymore. It's not that you can't hula hoop, your hoop's just not big enough. So you need a adult size hula hoop to be able to hoop like you did when you were a kid. And just like we went over, bigger is better when it comes to a beginner hoop. A bigger hoop will have a slower rotation and will be easier for you to waist hoop with. This is like the deco tape. This is going to be the shiny, pretty tape. And then in the negative space, we're going to put grip tape, which is made out of like a fabric, and it has some grip and it produces friction so the hoop doesn't just slide off of your body. So this is pretty essential if you're a beginner. You're going to want grip tape. It's going to help you out a lot. And thank you all for joining. I appreciate you guys being here. Oh, I see we have a birthday. Happy birthday. I hope you're having a great day on your birthday. Do you have any plans? But a hula hoop is a great gift. This would be like a great birthday gift, or even like Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, this would be a fun gift. You know, a lot of people do order like the pinks and the reds around Valentine's Day, or purples, and it's like a spicy gift, something fun that the whole house can really use. So if you're trying to be creative this Valentine's Day, a hula hoop would be a good idea for a gift, even a birthday gift, or just like a party favor even, you know, like if you're having a Galentine's Day, then this would be fun for any kind of party really. But I do hand make all of the hoops myself. They will be made by me if you order. I am on Etsy. My shop's name is I Dream of Hoops. I also have my own website, idreamofhoops.com. .co. So if you're looking for a fun Valentine's Day gift, or just something to get yourself moving around the house, if you don't feel like going to the gym or have the energy to go to the gym after a long day's work, this is a good idea for exercise. So always keep that in mind when you're looking for something last minute as a gift. You can give it to your niece, your grandma, your girlfriend. Everybody loves a hula hoop. I've learned that. Anytime you bring a hula hoop around, it brings joy out of people instantly. It would be, like I said, definitely a good like icebreaker for a party. People just can't help themselves. They have to try a hula hoop when it's around. So it is fun in that aspect. And then where I'm adding the connection of the tape, because I ran out, I'm gonna bind it down with clear tape. This one's called Crystal Clear Tape. Just to make sure all of the tape is nice and secure for longevity. But if you guys have any questions on sizing or anything related to hula hoops, I'm always happy to help. Is anyone having a snow day today? Where's everybody from? It got super cold over here last night, and we had a slight snow day. It didn't really snow, it just got colder than normal, so we don't know how to move around in that weather. So we're almost finished our first spiral. Okay, this one just so happens to space really well, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes the spiral will be spaced a little differently at this point. But the way that you can fix that is you micro adjust. You just go back, and if you need more space or less space, micro adjust accordingly. If you would need, like if the gap's too big, then I would try to make these a little bit wider. Or if the gap's too small, then I would make these prior. I just unbound it and make them a little bit, like just adjust it according to what you need. This is a 34-inch hula hoop, which is a smaller one for a beginner. Usually if you're more petite, Then you'll want a smaller hoop, something like 34 to 36. And then anyone else should usually get a 36 plus. The bigger the hoop, the slower the rotation and the easier it is to learn. So if you guys have any questions about sizes, I can always help. The shorter you are, usually people measure from their belly button. So like this, my belly button's right here. This would be a good beginner size for me, because from the floor to my belly button is about the diameter. If you measure from here to the floor, that'll tell you about the size hula hoop that you need, just based off of the physics. So right here where the tapes meet up again, we're going to bound it down with the clear tape. But I probably started hooping, it's been over 10 years. I've been making them for over 5 years. It's something that I just truly fell in love with, and it just stuck with me. It's something that has kept me healthy and happy over the years. And if I'm ever, you know, up on my weight, then I'll always just have my hula hoop right there in the corner, ready to go. So that's kind of the good thing about it, is that you can do it at any given time, whether you're waiting for your cup of coffee to brew or anything really. If you're sitting on the couch, instead of grabbing a snack, you grab your hula hoop and get a little workout session in at any moment in time. So the convenience factor is really unmatched, and it's just made it easy for me. I'm just not a gym girl, so I always have my hula hoop sitting in the corner just waiting for me patiently. I'm looking for my connection, because at the connection of the hoop is where I'm going to have to start my grip tape. And, you know, hooping is something that like so many like non-athlete type people will stick with, because it's good for not only your mental, not only your physical, but your mental as well. It's very nice to be able to grab your hula hoop and kind of disconnect from all the noise. So that's really one of the coolest things about it. A lot of people stay with it for the mental aspect more than the physical aspect. And then it also keeps you moving, keeps your body agile, and you know, if you don't use it, you lose it. So really, like, we've had people from like a group of nursing home people have started a hoop class and ordered from me, and then like we have very young kids that do it as well. So it's for all ages. But I've really been, lately, I've kind of been in a slump and not being active like I should be, probably because of the cold weather. But I always know, and today actually, I picked up my hula hoop instead of, you know, just self-loathing and, you know, poor me, grabbed my hula hoop, got myself going, and I just started feeling better. So, like I said, it's a really important thing to me. It seems silly, but little habits that you develop, good habits can change your life, and reducing bad habits can also change your life. Really, it's not about like, I'm going to change my life overnight. It's about doing small little tasks, whether it's I'm going to have a healthier lunch today, or I'm not going to have soda today. Like, those are the steps that will eventually bring you to major life changes in the right direction, instead of being like, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna do everything right on my diet. Like, that's just unfeasible for most people. or it just won't last long if it does last at all. So we're always here talking about like doing the small things, like grabbing your hula hoop for a minute. Just like tell yourself, I'm just gonna grab my hula hoop during this commercial break and see where that takes you. It could take you to one of the best workout sessions of your life, you know, like, so that's kind of our motto over here. Is we like to preach taking small steps to big change. And hooping is something that worked for me and has worked for me over the last 10 years, and I'm so grateful for it. And the reason why I started making hoops was not for financial gain, but it was because I was so passionate about it and I love it so much. And I know it sounds cliche, but it's the truth. Like, I just wanted other people to find the joy that hooping has given me. So this is one small step. If you're looking for a change, this could be it. It's like we order all kind of stuff that we don't need. Like, this is something that can affect you positively. So try it, you know? You might fall in love just like I did. Ooh, I did that one quick. Okay, now we're gonna take our razor blade this is our connection. We're gonna have to install the hardware after the tape. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, please let me know about sizing, or if you're looking to start your hoop journey. All right. What do you guys think? And it works. So, like I said, if you're looking for a beginner size, then your belly button to the floor is a good measurement on what size you would need. This would be a good beginner hoop for myself. You see, the bigger the hoop, the slower the rotation. So if it was smaller, it would be moving really, really fast and there would be little room for me to correct. But since it's bigger, it's a slower rotation. So let me go grab some more tubing and another hula hoop I have to make, and we can do that one too. Okay, so this is a really big hoop. This one's going to be a 41-inch teal. This is the same listing. There's just different color options, but it gives you like a solid state look of a hoop, because a lot of beginners don't really like that spiral look that the grip tape gives their hoop, because it kind of gives them away like, hey, I'm a beginner. So I always thought about that when I was a beginner, and that's why I designed this hoop, and it's one of my best sellers, so I guess I was onto something in that aspect. We just want to make sure the hoop is circular before we start to tape it. And like I said, this one is the same design as the pink hoop, so we're gonna approach it with the same taping spiral. So if you're ever wondering why handmade stuff can be expensive, this is one of the reasons why. You know, there's a real person behind it making the product. It's not made by a machine. It's made with love and integrity. You know, that's something that's been lost over the years in products, I find, is like in early products, like from the 50s to the 80s, I would say, everything was made with intention. Like, they wanted the best product, and that's how products should be made. But now everything is profit driven, making a quick buck, not how long it lasts, or being the best competitor on the market. They'll just buy out the competitors on the market now. So having items, that's why I love shopping on Etsy, because you can find items that are still made with love, and you're supporting a small business. I'd rather pay a little bit more to a human behind it than feeding the mouth of corporate America. And that's just, you know, my own personal opinion. But I'd rather give it to someone else instead of Jeff Bezos. Okay, so we're going to need some more of the glitter teal. And anywhere where your tapes are going to meet up, you're going to have to bind it down with clear tape. And just make sure that it's all aligned with the prior piece, so you'll have the same spiral width. Is it cold where everybody's at? durable, but it will chip with use and from the hoop falling over time. You want to try to avoid concrete or cement because that can really eat up the tape. And even like the hula hoop tubing on a bear hoop. A bear hoop would just be like the tubing like this. But I always tell people that's just, you know, showing the work that you put in. So that's just part of the process. Especially a beginner hoop too, even, you know, the pros, we drop it a lot. Anytime you're learning a new trick, or even just always, you're gonna drop your hoop. That's just part of the process. The main thing is to pick it back up and keep going. And the cool part about it too, like when you're hooping, it's kind of self-motivating because like you might be tired and a little sweaty, but you're so close to figuring out the muscle memory on a new trick, and like you're almost there, so you just keep playing with it, and you'll see that a lot. So it is self-motivating. I've gone past the point of where I intended to be in a hoop workout session because I'm like, I'm so close, I have to get it, and like, so that's really cool about it. It's always something new to learn. If it gets stale, then just go learn a couple new tricks and that'll throw a wrench in your easiness real quick. And it's still like an evolving sport. We're still adding tricks and learning stuff. We learn by like mistakes. Usually if the hoop's like flying somewhere where it's not supposed to, like you stick your arm in, it's like, oh wait, that could be a trick. So we're definitely still learning and developing as a sport. I'm hoping one day this would be so cool to have like a hoop competition where there's like judges, like kind of like with the skateboarding and stuff. That would be so cool if we could be like recognized as like a legitimate sport. Okay, so earlier I was talking about the spacing and how sometimes it doesn't line up exactly like you'd like. So you can see here, the gap's gonna be wider than these two. Okay, this one's wider. My tape's not lining up correctly. So since I need it just to shift a little more this way, I'm gonna unspiral it a few spirals and I'm gonna widen these just a little bit. Not enough. Let me go back a little bit more. Alright, you see that? I did a slight micro adjustment and we got it all even now. So where the hoop, the tape is matching up, we're going to have to do clear tape to keep it bound and secure. So next we're going to have to go with a layer of grip tape. This is the grip tape. you want the grip tape to overlap over the deco tape just to hold down the edges, making the tape more secure. The grip tape goes a lot faster than the deco tape. The deco tape tends to want to wrinkle more and just doesn't have any give, where this one has a little bit of give, so it gives you a little bit of wiggle room to adjust as needed. Lays flat pretty easily, so it's definitely a lot easier on the hands to apply this one. The deco tape, you have to like put a lot of tension on the tape, so you have to have it pulled real tight before you lay it down, and then you smooth it out with your thumb like this right behind it as you're laying it to make sure there's no bumps or wrinkles. And if you're ever interested in purchasing a hoop from me, you can use Hoop Dreams for a 10% discount always. That's always available to anyone on Etsy or on my website. And like I said, every hula hoop will be made by yours truly. I try to get my husband to help sometimes, but he's really no help. So everything's done by me. And I've been making them for 5+ years, so I know all the tricks of the trade. And I will definitely be better than any newbie shop out there. And I keep my prices competitive still, even though I probably should have raised them over the years with my expertise, but I'm always trying to give everybody a fair deal to start their hoop journey. But when you are looking, just remember that I do have the experience. Ta-da! So you see how big the diameter is on this hula hoop? It's definitely higher than my belly. Let's see. And you see how the rotation is a lot slower than the first one? It's because the diameter is so large. Okay, we have one more. This one is smaller. Let's see. Okay. So this is a 30-inch hoop. This is going to be really small. You see how much faster the rotation is? This is a small hoop, so this will be more for a kid or an advanced beginner. I'm just stretching out the tubing to make sure it all lie nice and even. All right. And let's see. And then, like, for instance, a hoop this size would be good for like an off-body hoop. Depending on your height, okay? So like my arms are only so long. I'm pretty petite, so a smaller hoop will flow between my arms easier than something that's too big for the physics to literally let it go through. So there's no hoop that is perfect size for every situation. You're really gonna need a large hoop and a medium-sized hoop. So I do like have some beginner packages where you can get 2 hoops so you can have success with all tricks. But don't, you know, overthink hoop sizing too much, because every hoop will be good in its own way for certain stuff. So just take it as it comes. Whatever you decide and order will work for certain stuff. And then you'll kind of learn what you want, if you want something bigger or smaller next time. So it's very complicated. Just don't overthink it. If you don't know where to go, go somewhere in the middle, and that'll be a good place for you to start. But yeah, so this and the teal hoop that we just made, those are both on the same listing. It's just a different color. And like I said, these are more solid state in color, so you aren't like a dead giveaway, like, oh, I'm a beginner. And your first video that you want to record or something, you know, you don't want to stand out like, oh, she's a beginner. So I think that's why people are gravitating towards this like solid color beginner hoop, because it makes you look like you're a pro. And you know, as long as you're trying, you are a pro in my book. The more you practice, the better you get. And that's with anything. It's like, don't ever like order a hula hoop and expect like instant success, because that's not how it works. The journey is one of the best parts though. And if you think that your spacing is getting too wide, just go and check it with the grip tape. With the grip tape, I'm sorry. And it'll let you know if your spacing is too wide or not. Instead of figuring it out later after you have the tape wound all the way around the hula hoop. That's something you want to try to avoid. So if you're eyeballing it and it looks like your spacing is widening up, just check it like that. And adjust accordingly. But like I said, this is our best seller. It sells in all the different colors, so it's available in green, teal, which is the one that we just made before this one, orange, which has like a beautiful like color shifting tape. This, the pink dragon design tape is what I call this. And then we have yellow, which is glitter. And I also have like a traditional blue one. It's in a separate listing, but it is available. And if you ever see like a tape that you love and it's on like a different design or something else, you can always message me and be like, hey, I love this tape with the blue grip, and I'll be more than happy to adjust it for you. I love custom orders. I want the customer to get what they want. I want them, if they have a hoop dream, to let me know so I can make it happen for you. So if you ever see a tape that we have available and you want it in a different design or with a different tape, always let me know. You can message me on here, or you can also DM me on Etsy, or email me at idreamofhoops@gmail.com. But yeah, so this would be considered a very small beginner hoop. If you're a total beginner, I recommend getting at least a 36-inch. And that'll be a good starting point for you regardless of how tall you are. And everyone graduates down as you learn. Okay, so this one's the opposite problem. This one's a little too tight right here. So we're gonna go back and we're gonna tighten these up slightly, and that'll give us more room right there. So the spiral is more even. That's better. Okay, so now we're gonna put the pink grip tape in the negative space. And like I said, this is a small beginner hoop. You want to measure from your belly button to the floor. This one will be a little too small. You see how much faster the rotation is and easier for it to fall. So that's why we recommend a bigger diameter if you're a beginner. We're looking for our connection, so we can start our grip tape there. You know, sometimes it's bad to be so good because my connection is so flush that sometimes they're hard to spot. But that's a good problem to have, because I remember when I first started making them, I was like, how do they get these connections flush? But over time, trial and error, I understood the tricks of the trade. But I have had hoops that almost drove me crazy, like, because I just could not find the connection point. on a tape tube. But eventually I always do find them. Sometimes that's one thing that my husband will help me with. I'm like, here, and he'll be able to find it sometimes easier than me. And listen, so I am very petite, very short, and my chairs are always too big for me, not too small. But I did learn from Black Friday, because I sat right here on this ottoman and taped so many hoops, and my knees are above my hips, which is like never, because I'm always, you know, too small for everything. But I started having like major hip pains, and almost to the point where I couldn't walk, you know, temporarily. And my husband, he's very tall, and he was like, that's from your knees being higher than your hips. And I was like, oh my God, I would have never put that together. So just a FYI for your information, that is something that can happen. So if you're struggling with hip pain, I was like, you think my hands would hurt from making 100 hula hoops, but it's my hips. Like, how? I'm not even moving, but that's how. So just a little for your information. If you're tall and haven't added it together, or if you're like me, short, and it doesn't happen often and it happens all of a sudden, you don't want your hips higher than, you don't want your knees higher than your hips, apparently. But it makes sense, you know, everything ideally is best aligned and nice and straight. But I just could not figure out how, for making so many hula hoops for Black Friday, that my hip was hurting. But like I said, we figured it out. Let's just use our razor blade to cut through the deco tape at the connection. I appreciate everybody joining me today. And always, if you have any questions, I'm happy to help guide you with the best knowledge that I have available. All in a day's work at I Dream of Hoops. All right, thank you all for joining. I appreciate it. And if you're interested, always just leave a comment and let me know, and I'm happy to help.